Once hailed as a revolutionary leap in aviation and a symbol of cutting-edge technology, the Boeing 787 Dreamliner carried over 1 billion passengers within just over a decade of its debut. But in a single day, following an incident involving an Air India Dreamliner, that image came crashing down. From a pride, the 787 became a flying coffin, a scary aircraft in the world. Why? How much more serious are the consequences than we ever imagined? And is there something more that we don't know? Let's find out. How serious is it? Now there are numerous theories about what caused the fatal crash in Ahmedabad, but the truth remains disturbingly unclear. In modern aviation there are many causes behind catastrophic accidents. It could be due to technical failure, human error, mistakes made in the cockpit, or even something as unexpected as a bird strike. However, in this case it's understandable that the Dreamliner has come under suspicion. With the haunting legacy of the Boeing 737 MAX still fresh, many are beginning to wonder, is the 787 Dreamliner repeating the past mistakes of the 737 MAX? With over 20,500 orders and around 1,147 aircraft in active service, the Boeing 787 stands as one of the most commercially successful and widely used wide-body aircraft in the world. The aircraft was a cornerstone of global intercontinental travel. It is one of the safest aircraft. It has enjoyed an enviable safety record until June 12, 2025. That illusion of reliability was shattered with the crash of an Air India 787 in Ahmedabad, the first fatal accident involving the Dreamliner. And after the crash, people began to reconsider the series of troubling signs that had occurred in the past. This aircraft was once hailed as a quantum leap in aviation technology, a sleek, fuel-efficient aircraft constructed from lightweight composite materials and powered by advanced engines. It was meant to define a new era, but development was plagued with delays and budget overruns. Originally set for delivery in 2008, the first Dreamliner only entered commercial service in October 2011 with all Nippon Airways, 4 years late and billions over budget. Even after its long-awaited debut, trouble surfaced almost immediately. In early 2013, both Japan Airlines and United Airlines reported problems with the aircraft's electrical wiring, particularly near the lithium-ion battery system. That same year, a fire broke out on an empty Ethiopian Airlines 787 parked at London Heathrow. The cause was overlapping electrical wires below the battery system. Soon after, Norwegian Air reported a major fuel leak linked to a faulty valve. These incidents were not isolated. They signaled systemic flaws in both design and quality control. The aircraft's composite skin showed signs of delamination in some cases. There were engine problems too, notably with the Rolls-Royce Trent 1000 engines which suffered premature blade wear, forcing airlines to ground fleets and reschedule flights. For more than a decade, the FAA closely monitored the Dreamliner. In 2021 and 2022, Boeing halted deliveries of the 787 for over a year due to structural quality concerns. The problems included gaps in the fuselage joints, some no thicker than a piece of paper, and titanium parts that were manufactured using incorrect material specifications. Boeing claimed these issues posed no safety risk, but such assurances were not enough. And do you know what happened after that? On March 20th, 2024, a LATAM Airlines 787 suddenly dropped more than 90 meters in seconds during cruise. While the aircraft landed safely in Auckland, 50 passengers were injured and 12 were hospitalized. Investigators found the captain's seat had abruptly slid forward due to a mechanical malfunction. It wasn't turbulence, it wasn't the weather, it was hardware. That same year, a Boeing whistleblower came forward revealing that some fuselage sections of the 787 had been improperly assembled, a deviation that could lead to long-term structural fatigue. The FAA launched a formal investigation. This wasn't just about oversight. It hinted at deeper negligence. Now came the crash in Ahmedabad. Despite Boeing's repeated claims that none of the past technical issues compromised safety, the convergence of these failures, from wiring problems to software glitches, from structural gaps to engine malfunctions, has created a basis for suspicion. With each new revelation, the Dreamliner's aura of reliability fades further, and no consequence speaks louder than the numbers. CEO Kelly Ortberg issued a statement with the solemnity typical in moments of crisis. The company extends its deepest condolences to the loved ones of the passengers and crew aboard the flight. Boeing is committed to fully supporting the investigation led by the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau of India. But no matter how sincere the condolences or how strong the technical support may be, none of it can undo the fact that a tragedy has occurred. And the fallout cannot be contained by a press release. The markets responded with fierce outrage. By the close of trading on Thursday at the New York Stock Exchange, Boeing stock had dropped nearly 5%. It is likely to fall even lower. This was not just a reflexive panic, it was a clear indication of eroded confidence in the company's future. For investors, it was just the latest blow in a series of long-standing disappointments. In reality, Boeing had already been spiraling into a crisis of finances and reputation long before the Ahmedabad disaster. Last year alone, the company reported losses nearing $1 billion per month, an eye-watering figure that speaks volumes about the depth of the problem. Those numbers show that an ongoing safety crisis, glaring failures in quality control, and a 7-week-long worker strike that paralyzed production lines. The 2024 incident in which a door plug blew out mid-flight on an Alaska Airlines 737 MAX was another severe blow. Boeing was forced to pay $160 million in compensation, a payment that seemed more like damage control than true accountability. Not long before, the company had also agreed to a $428 million settlement with Southwest Airlines for losses incurred during the prolonged grounding of its 737 MAX fleet. These recurring compensation payouts have not only weakened Boeing's financials, but also steadily eroded its once unassailable reputation. Adding to the turmoil, this aircraft maker has been entangled in ongoing legal battles tied to the fatal crashes in Indonesia and Ethiopia. Just last month, the company narrowly avoided criminal prosecution by striking a deal with the U.S. Department of Justice. But to the families of the victims, this was no justice. It was a bitter compromise. Under the agreement, Boeing admitted to conspiring to obstruct and impede the FAA's investigation, and agreed to pay over $1.1 billion in penalties. Against this backdrop of relentless crisis, recent internal statements from Boeing touting improved operational performance and a continued focus on safety and quality ring hollow. Who still believes Boeing's commitment to focus on safety and quality anymore? The more important, the fear of flying with Boeing, something that erupted intensely during the 737 MAX crisis, is now resurfacing in full force following the crash of the 787 Dreamliner in Ahmedabad. What makes the situation even more serious is the reaction from passengers themselves. People who once paid little attention to aircraft types are now actively researching, selecting, and even canceling flights if they find out it's a Boeing. This shift signals a loss of trust that no longer resides only in aviation circles or among investors but has deeply permeated public consciousness. On social media, a video discussing Boeing has attracted thousands of negative comments. Many express genuine fear and skepticism. "I always ask what plane I'll be flying on. If it's a Boeing, I look for another airliner," another user bluntly states. Boeing used to be a symbol of quality and safety, now it's just a disappointment. These remarks are no longer rare, and they're fueling a wave of public anxiety that Boeing is struggling to contain. In the aviation industry, trust is everything. A plane may be statistically safe, but if passengers no longer believe it, that safety becomes meaningless. And when fear becomes a factor in booking decisions, the consequences go beyond financial loss. It becomes an existential branding crisis. However, it is important to reiterate that, as of now, there is no definitive evidence proving that the Boeing 787 Dreamliner was the direct cause of the deaths of the 241 people on board and at least 8 on the ground. Not until investigators are able to conclusively determine what exactly transpired that morning. The answer, as always, lies within the aircraft's black boxes, both of which have fortunately been recovered. Commercial aircraft are equipped with 2 black boxes, small, rugged devices designed to survive extreme conditions. One records flight data such as altitude, speed, and heading, while the other is a cockpit voice recorder that captures audio inside the flight deck. Together, they allow investigators to reconstruct the flight's final moments in both numbers and human voices, to hear what the pilot said, how the systems responded, and whether any unusual sounds or warnings emerged before the crash. At present, the investigation into the Air India disaster is reportedly honing in on 3 key components: the engines, the flaps, and the landing gear, according to a source familiar with the matter. In response, India's Aviation Authority has issued a directive requiring a full safety inspection of the airline's entire fleet of Boeing 787 aircraft, signaling the gravity of the situation. According to publicly available data from Flight Radar 24, the aircraft involved, a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, had completed over 700 flights in the year prior to the crash. It had been in service for 11 years and was considered a workhorse of Air India's international network. It frequently operated routes between Mumbai and Dubai and from New Delhi to major European cities such as Milan, Paris, and Amsterdam. In fact, it had completed 25 flights between Ahmedabad and London Gatwick over the past 2 years alone. The outcome of this investigation carries far-reaching significance. It will not only determine what caused one of the most devastating aviation tragedies in recent Indian history, but it could also force a global reassessment of the safety record of the 787 Dreamliner, a jet that has become central to long-haul commercial aviation. With more than 1,100 of these aircraft currently in service worldwide, any flaw discovered in the design, maintenance, or performance of this model could have profound implications for airlines, regulators, and passengers around the globe. So what ultimately caused this tragedy? Will the Dreamliner be cleared of suspicion? Let's make some noise. Before we end this video, we'd like to offer our deepest condolences to the families and loved ones of the victims. Thanks for watching, and may you always have safe flights.